time to add smoke to my rotation of characters for Fatal Friday. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor. And Fatal Friday is a series where I look back on videos where I casually went into the Kombat League trying to pull off the unique finishers for characters, like their Brutalities and Fatalities. I would do this for a number of characters in Mortal Kombat 1, and the character of the week is going to be Smoke. I am going to be highlighting his default fatality titled Hazed and Confused.
Take one. Action.
We kick things off pretty well in this first match. I get my timing just right, extending Smoke's combo with Cyrax, and then finishing off the combo in the air for about 300 damage. Now Smoke is able to convert nearly any combo into his back forward 3 special attack that is called Vicious Vapors. And Vicious Vapors has a small gap in it where you can summon the vertical Cyrax copter. If you time it right, Smoke then knocks the opponent into Cyrax, who then carries the opponent up into the air long enough for Smoke to jump up there and then finish off the combo. Regardless of how the combo starts, canceling into the Vicious Vapors and then summoning Cyrax, that leads to most combos being able to turn into 300 damage or more. The timing for that is kind of tricky though, and it is pretty easy to mess up, especially in a quick reaction scenario against a real person. With that in mind, after landing the Cyrax assisted combo to start the fight, I go most of the set without doing it again. I would go on to miss with Cyrax at least 4 times before knocking Scorpion into Cyrax again. Even whenever that does happen, I am not able to get full combos off of it, so the rest of the set had me settling for mid or high 200 damage combos. Even so, that ends up being plenty in this set. It is just not going to be the greatest example of me canceling out of a combo and summoning Cyrax at just the right time. Something that goes on to be a pretty key part of my strategy, using Smoke and Cyrax together and trying to get combos with meaningful damage. It just ends up being a really regularly used tool for this combination. Fortunately, this ends up being a lot more smooth and a lot more accurate in future videos. But hey, we have to start somewhere, so may as well start here with my very first Smoke video showing how I mess it up, and then going from there and showing how things go much more successfully later on. This first match of the set is going to end in a pretty odd way. I get a good life lead against the Scorpion user I'm going against, so I then slow down the fight and I try going for a couple of brutalities rather than just ending the fight. Watching this back, it seems like I was trying to get the Cyrax brutalities. I say that because I see myself missing a forward throw that could have activated Cyrax's throw brutality, and then after that I end up falling back, going full screen basically, and then trying to use Cyrax's net to try catching Scorpion. And if you catch the opponent with that net and they are weak enough, they can then be set up for the Cyrax bomb brutality. The net does end up catching Scorpion, but unfortunately Scorpion hits Cyrax just before he gets stuck. So Scorpion is trapped, but Cyrax cannot be summoned for a while because he was hit, which means he cannot use the bomb like I intended. At that point, I could not quickly decide on a different brutality, so I just went ahead and ended the fight with a couple of hits. I felt like explaining that because if you saw me catch Scorpion with the net and it kind of looked like I had no idea what to do after that, well, it's kind of because I didn't. My original plan kind of went astray because Cyrax got hit, and yeah, that was the best I could come up with, even though it really was not much. Clearly, the pressure of a split-second decision got to me. An unfortunate waste of an opportunity for a finisher, but we always have the fatality to fall back on, which we do end up doing that after I end up winning the second match of the set. Speaking of which, we are now in the second match of the set. I took the very first round of the second match, and now I only need one more round to win everything. The second round is also where my timing with Cyrax started to come back a little bit. Something that helped me out with that was that Scorpion started off the round in the corner, and while there was a brief amount of time where he would escape, Smoke would go on to put him back in that corner, and after that Scorpion would be stuck there for the remainder of the fight. I would get a couple of these Cyrax combos going again, but unfortunately whenever that did happen, the smoke bomb at the very end of the air combo would not hit, and that would limit the damage to about 250 each time. In spite of all that, I was still consistently doing damage to Scorpion while he was stuck in the corner, and eventually I would go on to win, and then it was Fatality Time.
Fatalities.
And that is it. We got a clean sweep, not losing a single round against Scorpion, and we capped it all off with a Hazed and Confused Fatality for Smoke. Since that was a clean sweep and this is going to be a pretty short video if I stop here, we're actually going to turn this into a double feature.
You fight for peace.
And I'll kill anyone I have to get it.
Take one. Action.
Next up, we are facing off against somebody using Peacemaker. This actually ends up being the very next fight after I got done fighting Scorpion. The only thing I did between those two fights was go back to the main menu and switch up the costumes a little bit. While doing that, I probably should have went into the practice mode for just a moment to practice my timing with the Cyrax extension of the combos, but I did not, and going into this fight for the first 2 rounds, it kind of shows. Every time I end up landing the Vicious Vapor special attack for Smoke, I end up missing with Cyrax. And it really ends up screwing me over in this first round, especially because, for the first time in this video, I end up losing a round. And it was one that was super preventable had I just managed to finish my combos. Now this timing issue that I was having whenever trying to summon Cyrax after Vicious Vapors, it's a temporary problem, but it was still a problem. But since I ended up dropping every single one of them, I guess I really should not be too surprised that I lost the first round. In the second round, I don't exactly solve this whole combo timing issue that I was having between Vicious Vapors and Cyrax, but things still go a bit better for me. I may not have been ripping off really good combos, but I was still getting a fair share of stray hits on Peacemaker while also not taking very much damage in return. As a result, I may not have had a very impressive health lead, but it was still a lead and I was holding on to it as best as I could. In the process, I was just kind of teleporting around, avoiding some of Peacemaker's attacks like his anti-gravity or the occasional ice ball from Frost, which that comes up a pretty decent amount in this first match. He would summon Frost, he would do the ice ball, and I would just very narrowly end up dodging it with the teleport. I am a little bit surprised that I never ended up teleporting into it at least once. But yeah, I ended up managing to dodge every single one of them. So the second round ended up going in my favor. I ended up winning it, so it all came down to a third and final round to determine who was going to win the very first match. And you may not have noticed it because I really didn't draw any attention to it, but towards the very end I did end up landing the transition away from the Vicious Vapor special attack and into Cyrax. Unfortunately, the first time I managed to do that against Peacemaker, of course he had 3 bars of meter and he just went ahead and broke. So even though I would have had a full combo, it was just not meant to be. But that was very important because that represents a turning point in this fight. From this point forward, while I don't land every single one of them, I do start very consistently landing the combinations where I would transition to Vicious Vapors and then also summon Cyrax to extend the combos. So it may have been a very rough start. But from this point forward, we do start to see the combos that end up with over 300 damage, and that starts happening pretty consistently. As a result of me starting to find some rhythm whenever it comes to this combination of Smoke and Cyrax, we do end up taking the third round and taking the very first match of this set. So I go up by a score of 1-0. Peacemaker takes a moment to think about his cameo choices and decides to go with Sareena. I have a suspicion that all the ice balls from Frost, they may not have been intentional, because I believe to do that you have to do her bat cameo combination, and I believe Peacemaker may have wanted to do her ground freeze, which is forward cameo, but if you look at Sareena, it's kind of the opposite. Bat cameo for Sareena are the 2 knives that she throws, which you can use to extend combos. So I kind of feel like Peacemaker had the Sareena brain going on, trying to do the bat cameo with Frost, but doing the wrong thing to extend the combos. So after that did not work out in the very first match, I have a suspicion that rather than make the adjustment with Frost, he went with a cameo that was kind of the button combination he was trying to do anyway. I could be wrong about that, but it kind of makes sense in my head. Regardless if my theory is correct or not, switching to Sareena really did not end up making much of a difference in this very first round. While Sareena may have the cameo buttons he was trying to do to extend combos, and it could have been more successful if he had her from the beginning, he never really got the chance to extend any combos with her in this first round, and I end up winning it. Suddenly I found myself only one more round away from victory for the entire set, which would mean also that I was only 1 round away from getting to do my fatality for a second time. And man, after seeing me fail this combo so many times, it feels so good to finally see it pulled off for over 300 damage. Like, it just took a long time to start landing this consistently, and that was the first one I had managed to do to Peacemaker, I believe, this entire set. No wait, I managed to pull off one at the very end of the last match. Even so, this was still one of the very first ones I managed to complete for over 300 damage this entire set. And it only gets better from here because this second round is really not all that close. I do end up having to break one of Peacemaker's combos that might have ended up making it a little bit closer, but after breaking that, I end up landing another one of those big combos doing 320 damage with Cyrax and Smoke, so I just took my time ducking his shots and waiting for him to do something unsafe. That really did not end up coming for a while, but eventually he went for his command grab combo. I duck it. My throw does just short of the amount of damage necessary to win the fight, but he's basically 2 hits away from death at that point. I end up getting those 2 hits, and it is Fatality Time.
Fatality. Smoke wins.
And there it is, times 2, the second in my double feature of the Fatality, Hazed and Confused for Smoke. And that is pretty much going to do it for our matches here today. Thank you to both the Scorpion and the Peacemaker users that I randomly got in the Kombat League. I did not quite get a clean sweep here today, losing 1 round to Peacemaker, but overall I did pretty well, even though I was struggling a little bit getting those combos going. But I think because of those struggles, those matches ended up being a little bit closer than they otherwise would have been. So it all works out, I ended up enjoying it. And regarding those fatalities, I'll make sure to show one of them one more time at the very end of this outro, that way we can all enjoy it one final time before we part ways on this Fatal Friday. So yeah. This was my introduction of Smoke into the rotation of characters I use for Fatal Friday. It's the very first video I've used Smoke in. He is going to be a regular sight whenever it comes to my rotation of characters because I do have all of his day 1 finishers, both of his fatalities and all his brutalities. And the same is going to be true for the Kameo Cyrax, who is going to be his partner in every single video for those day 1 finishers. So we have a lot more to look forward to from both of them. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to check out the other videos I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. I have a bunch of other finisher videos from Mortal Kombat 1. Those can be found under the Fatal Friday playlists. If those sound interesting to you, feel free to check them out or check out the other stuff I have on the channel. I've definitely got plenty of other video game things going on there. But regardless of what you choose to do, thank you again for checking out this video and sticking around for this long. Take care. Hopefully I will see you in the next one.